A place, with all due respect, like Iraq or Afghanistan, that has seen conflict raging for decades. This is a relatively civilized, relatively European, I have to choose those words carefully too, city where you wouldn't expect that or hope that it's going to happen.
His comments were condemned by many around the world.
Wow. That was you choosing your words carefully? That was the careful version? So what were you going to say if you weren't choosing your words carefully? I just hope the next time this happens, it happens back in the Middle East where it belongs. I was shocked to see how many reporters around the world, by the way, seem to think that it's more of a tragedy when white people have to flee their countries. Because I guess what, the darkies were built for it? I mean, you see how they run in the Olympics, Peter. Clearly God has given them this talent for a reason. I totally agree. I mean, even if this wasn't a war, these people would probably be fleeing their homes for fun. It's just who they are. Back to you guys in the studio.
It shows the very nature of biased reporting in this conflict. A bias clearly exemplified also by this guest who appeared on the BBC.
It's very emotional for me because I see European people with blue eyes and blonde hair being killed, children being killed every day with Putin's missiles and his helicopters and his rockets.
A narrative that places more importance on people based on the color of their skin is racist and nothing new. Another journalist, Daniel Hannan, was also denounced for his article, which appeared in The Telegraph, where he wrote, "They seem so like us. That's what makes it so shocking. War is no longer something visited upon impoverished and remote populations. It can happen to anyone." NBC News correspondent Kelly Kobiela also came under fire after she stated this on air.
Just to put it bluntly, these are not refugees from Syria. These are refugees from neighboring Ukraine. I mean, that, quite frankly, is part of it. These are Christians, they're white, they're very similar to people who live in Poland.
French MP Jean-Louis Bourlanges said during a broadcast that Ukrainian refugees would bring an immigration of great quality, intellectuals, and an anchor on Al Jazeera English described Ukrainians fleeing the conflict like this.
Population. As you're talking to us, Matthew, we're playing in the latest pictures of some of the refugees trying to get on trains or trying to get out of Ukraine. And what's compelling is just looking at them, the way they're dressed. These are prosperous, I'm loath to use the expression, these are prosperous middle-class people. These are not obviously refugees trying to get away from areas in the Middle East that are still in a big state of war. These are not people trying to get away from areas in North Africa. They look like any European family that you would live next door to.
Al Jazeera has acknowledged that one of its presenters made unfair comparisons between Ukrainians fleeing the war and refugees from the MENA region, and apologized. Meanwhile, on Britain's ITV, a correspondent in Poland said the following.
Now the unthinkable has happened to them. And this is not a developing third world nation. This is Europe.